Hello and welcome to this week's Away Perspective, joined by Henry Jackson from This Is Anfield. Henry, how is it going?
Hi, Sam. You all right? Yep, all good. All good. My end, you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm sort of looking forward to this one. I mean, we did your sort of away preview, and I wasn't too hopeful, but we'll see what happens. I suppose from a Liverpool point of view, playing Wolves at Molineux is easy. It's a very, very long time, I think, since we last beat you at home.
Yeah. I think you might have beaten us in a cup game a few years ago, but certainly league-wise, it's one of those strange grounds that I always have sort of an element of fear when we go there. I always think of Molineux as a tricky place to go. I think sort of you get certain away days during the season when you look at it. At Bournemouth, for example, was always one where I thought that's a 3-0 away win. There's something about Wolves that even though we often win there, it's quite often difficult. I think it was a late Firmino winner there when we won the league. So I think 1-0 last season. So yeah, I mean the way we're playing at the moment, obviously I'm confident, but I always fear going there. It's good atmosphere.
From memory, I think it was a very, very, very young Hoover that came on in that game for Liverpool. So there you go. It's a small world, isn't it, in the Premier League? Ruben Neves is back for Wolves. He missed the game in midweek. How much of a difference do you think he'll make to the Wolves side?
Yeah, I think he's certainly a key player for you, isn't he? The control he brings in midfield and just sort of the general quality. Sort of got the impression, you'd know more than me, but maybe that his stock sort of dropped a little bit last season. That there were maybe sort of a few people coming out saying this, very highly rated young player, is he as good as everyone's made out? And then I think he's been much better this season. And he's obviously got that eye for the spectacular and his natural talent. You can't complain with. So yeah, I mean, he's going to be a key man for you to have back, definitely.
I know Klopp is going to give an update probably this afternoon. He may have has already done it, but this game is expected to come too soon for Keita, Firmino, and Joe Gomez too.
Yeah. I think they're the only three who are definitely out. I think Keita and Gomez should be back, sort of hopefully for the Milan game on Tuesday. They're back in full training, but they certainly won't play tomorrow. And Firmino's a few weeks away. So unlike last season, we're sort of slowly but surely getting a little bit more fortunate with the injuries, and it's showing.
One player, I suppose, lots of Wolves fans' eyes will be Diogo Jota. I said in the preview that if we can have the Jota that Klopp has nurtured and created, and maybe he could try and do some work on Hoover, that would be great.
Yeah, he's been superb. He's a funny player, really, Jota, because I think a few weeks ago I got a bit of stick online for saying that I sort of said he doesn't always do a lot, and maybe they sort of accused him saying we need a bit more from him. Well, he sort of Firmino was always at the hub of everything when he plays, and yeah, he doesn't score the goals necessarily. But to be fair to Jota, the last 2 or 3 weeks he's been superb, and his ability to get into dangerous positions is, that's where he's got the advantage over Firmino, and he does do more than I probably gave him credit for. Certainly in recent weeks, and overall you just can't argue with what it's been a superb signing. I think he's second only to Salah for goals per minute. So yeah, he's been great, and he's going to be a huge player, moving forward.
It's been one of those debates that a lot of us have had, and we signed Daniel Podence early last year, and I said he was better than Jota. I've been getting a lot of stick ever since, because the reason, the thing I always said anyway in the very beginning when he left is, I was shocked that we got 45 million or whatever it was for him, and I think it was mostly maybe because it came out of the blue and nobody was expecting it, and all of a sudden it was hit with this huge fee, a transfer fee that Wolves have never ever received before. So that was maybe one of the reasons, but the other reason was that he is brilliant on his day, but his day doesn't come often enough. But have you seen glimpses of that reasoning from a Liverpool point of view as well?
I think I've seen glimpses of it in terms of his all-round game. To be fair to him, what I would say is he's consistently delivering in terms of goals. I don't think he's yet to have a drought of any kind. It's not sort of like he's gone 5 or 6 games without scoring. I would say there are times when maybe I would agree with you that there are spells in matches when you can see that half an hour's gone and you forget that he's actually on the pitch. That's happened a few times, but so far he's justified that money and more, really. But I can certainly see where you're coming from. I think the criticism would come his way if he stopped scoring and then wasn't offering enough to the team. I think he's fine at the moment because you just can't complain with his end product.
The front three are so dangerous, and it does seem like it's been maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years of that Liverpool having a brilliant three-pronged attack, or at least maybe a two-pronged one anyway, maybe with Sturridge and Suarez sort of a little bit of a while back. The bottlers, obviously, in that year. But how much is Jota's goal keeping Firmino outside if he wasn't injured?
In terms of whether he would keep Firmino out,
because I mean, Klopp can't lose, really, can he? Because he's saying, "Well, I can't play Firmino, and I have to play Jota because he's injured."
It's a difficult one. I think they're obviously two very different players, and I personally think, if I actually tweeted it the other day and sort of to get answers from people, I think if Liverpool were playing in the Champions League final tomorrow and everybody was fit and in form, I think Firmino would be the one who starts personally. Because I think he's still, for all Jota's brilliance, I think an in-form, fully fit Firmino is still that one that gels the attack even better, and he links with Mane and Salah and drops into the midfield, and he's so good at that I think he would possibly have the edge. But I think they're probably suited for different games. I think Jota at home to weaker teams is the better suited. He's that one that's going to take a chance that comes his way when maybe Firmino would fluff his line. So I think it's a healthy kind of headache for Klopp to have, that he's not had enough. It's too often just been three players and then a Origi or Minamino or someone to come in. In the moment, once Firmino's fit, they really do have four arguably bordering sort of world-class options. So it's sort of a healthy competition, I think, and I'm sure fans would be split over who they choose out of Jota and Firmino.
Very interesting. Some of the stats that are going along the bottom of the screen don't really make very good reading for Wolves fans. Liverpool have lost just one of the last 14 Premier League meetings with Wolves, winning 11, drawing 1. And I think it's only the win at Anfield, I think, 2011, maybe one of Roy Hodgson's, if not Roy Hodgson's last game in charge with that Stephen Ward winner. That's how often it happens, Henry, is that I can reel it off without even having to think about it.
Yeah, well, because I'm the ultimate pessimist as a football fan. Most Liverpool fans are rightly very optimistic these days because of how good we are. But all that I immediately think of is that you're due one. It's going to happen eventually.
It has to be a bit of a law of averages.
Yeah, West Ham beat us; they were due one. But no, you're right. I mean, everything points towards Liverpool win, obviously.
Is there a player in that Wolves side that you would take from Wolves, or is there any sort of inklings that there may be some recruitment in the summer, possibly?
In terms of I like Neto a lot, who obviously hasn't played for a long time. Every time I saw him last season before he got injured, he just always impressed me. Just that kind of balance on the left foot, and sort of, I might be wrong, but quite often more or less playing on the left instead of the right. So not kind of one of these cutting in wingers, more sort of hitting the byline and just so direct. So he always caught my eye. Traore is obviously the one at the moment where there's murmurings, and the Twitter ITKs have claimed the deal's done already for January that I've heard. And I don't know what to believe. He's a very strange one, Traore, because everyone knows that he's unplayable in terms of when he's on it with his speed and his strength. There isn't anything you can't. He will get past you unless you foul him. But as we all know, the end product, I don't think he's got a goal or an assist, has he, this season? And that's the problem. If Liverpool signed him, would I be happy? Not really, but I trust. There's nobody I trust more than Klopp to sort of get the best out of a player. And if he could suddenly turn Traore into someone who's delivering more consistently in terms of end product, you've suddenly got a really kind of devastating squad player there. So he'd be an interesting one. I wouldn't take him because he'd probably cost a lot of money, but it would be interesting to see how he'd do.
Very interesting you mentioned January there, because there is about 18 months left on his deal and he is stalling on it. So it will be very interesting. But like you say, I mean, Klopp has worked some magic over the years. I mean, he's had his fair share of duckers, in fairness. But do you think there would be scope to do it? Because I mean, Traore has been managed by a lot of managers, and most of them quality, obviously coming from Barcelona as well. Do you think you can instill a football brain in a player?
I think that's the hardest thing. I think you can improve players a lot. Klopp's done that with a lot of his signings, without a doubt. But I think that brain is the key at the end of the day. And you only have to look at the evidence of 3-4 years of Traore to suggest, has he got it to that extent? It always surprises me that he came through the Barcelona academy, to be fair, because, to play in that, it would suggest you have to have a, pretty strong football brain. So maybe I'm doing him a bit of a disservice, but I
don't think so.
It's that ability to give the right part. Everyone knows, just be playing five-a-side or stuff with your mates through the year. there's that player who does too much, and you think if they could just do the simple things, they'd be twice the player they are. And it's a bit like that with Traore, that if he could just give it easy at times, or if he could just put it on a plate for someone, he would, rather than sort of doing the amount of dribbles he does, then I think he'd be a much more effective player. So that would be my main issue with him, is that footballing brain thing. I think you can improve it in a player, but I think you've either got it to that kind of elite level that Liverpool are at, or you don't.
Perfect. Well, Henry, we will round off with a score prediction, if you don't mind.
I think it will be tougher. I think it will be 2-1 Liverpool. I think you'll give us a good game. We're obviously scoring, 3 or 4 a game at the moment and flying. I don't see us, certainly the way you seem to be defending well, not conceding many. I don't think it's going to be like Everton or Southampton or the Arsenal game in recent weeks. I think you'll make it tough, and I think you'll score. We're giving up a few chances. If I'm being ultra critical of us at the moment, we're not quite as strong at the back as we were when we won the title. So I think our quality will shine through and we'll edge it. But I think I could see maybe hanging on late in the day and sort of squeezing past you.
Are these the kind of games that Liverpool need to win if they are going to win the league? I know it seems a bit stupid to say because you need to win a lot of games, but you need to almost keep the pace, don't you? Because that's what you're having to do at the moment.
I think midweek just showed it really. You had all 3 of them, all had away games that I think fans of all the other 2 clubs would look at and think, well, there's potential there for drop points, whether it was us at Everton or Chelsea at Watford, City at Villa. And I think tomorrow is exactly the same. I think Chelsea fans will be thinking, this is a chance. Obviously, Chelsea are away to West Ham, and I'm looking at that the same way. So, I think these are the ones that we won when we won the league, and you have to just grind these ones out. It's not necessarily going to be a 4-0 win, but you have to just do it the ugly way sometimes.
Perfect, Henry. Well, thanks for joining us. And of course, if you want to catch up with a preview from the 77 Club point of view, then you can so on the YouTube channel. But we'll say goodbye to Henry Jackson from This Is Anfield.
Cheers, Sam. Take care.